hopefully we did a good job of kind of portraying that.
Is there any part of the scenes where you're telling the weather? Haha.
Actually, I totally did think of that. Hopefully there will be a chance of rain.
That must be a Mean Girls show because I don't get it.
Yeah. It's a Mean Girls show. All the boys are listening right now and being like, what the heck?
I've seen Mean Girls, but I don't remember that.
You'll have to watch it. It's towards the end of the movie, so.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, you're probably already asleep after that.
Well, last but certainly not least, David, you're up next. Right after college, I read that you moved from Alaska to New York and started in commercials right away. So you didn't even have to probably wait on tables, did you?
Well, everybody's got to have the survival job, phase. I did do one of my first jobs in Manhattan was one of those people that stands on the street and asks you to support children overseas. You give $20 a month and you can essentially provide the child with everything that it needs. And, which is a great cause, but in Manhattan or anywhere, really, someone's going to stop and give you your credit card number.
Right, exactly.
And so when I got hired, I was like, oh, it's a great job, and I said, are we working on commission? Because I don't want to be responsible if I can't get enough sign-ups in one day. And they're like, no, don't worry about it. Just, you have a good personality. You're just going to go and do it. You should be really good at this. And I said, okay, I should be, in theory. And I ended up getting fired from that job because I didn't do very well. But look, so, soon after that I got One Life and things. That actually happened right after my first commercial. So this is a city and this is a business where, one day you're up, the next day you're not sure where you're going to be. So you take it in stride and stay happy when those good things come.
And save your pennies for in between jobs,
and save your
right?
pennies. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Now, I have to ask you, when you were standing on the corner trying to collect funds, did you do this with your shirt on or off?
I actually did.
I don't think you would have got fired if you took it off.
Right?
I was hired in the middle of winter, and I distinctly remember, I think it was Valentine's Day of 2009, standing on the street on 42nd Street, and it was like this blizzard outside, and we kept running into the shoe store to get the little foot warmers that you can stick in your socks and warm your feet. And that was Valentine's Day.
Yeah, there's no way you could have taken your shirt off. You should have waited till the summer for that, and then you would have made a ton of money.
It's true that.
For the kids.
For the kids.
Well, for the children.
Right. Now, I also know that when you started on One Life to Live, it was only supposed to be for a couple of weeks, but you ended up staying for a couple of years. How did that happen? Did we all love you that much and just say, you got to take him on, or what? What happened?
I'll be completely honest with you, and this is the truth. And anybody that's worked on a soap, or I guess any television show in general would say this, the longevity of a character or a show is predicated on fans and people that like the show or like the character. So what ended up being, or started as a 2.5 week, recurring stint, I was asked back because people responded well to the character and because they wanted to see more of, a certain thing, I guess. And once I came back, we added some family members. I got a couple of brothers and some parents, and we got a whole lot of soapy goodness mixed in with that, and 2.5 years later, we were still kicking. Obviously the show is no longer with us, but the idea that something like that could happen is wonderful. I had a time of my life on the show. I wouldn't have traded that for anything.
Yeah, it's one of the best soaps. I grew up an ABC girl, so I loved all my children. One Life to Live, General Hospital. And eventually I started watching the other soaps, but my heart was always in ABC, so.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? But what was the best part about playing Robert?
That's tough because I definitely enjoyed it in the beginning. There was lots to be said for he was a villain, essentially. He was a bad boy. And I loved doing that because it was something that was so completely not myself, and I really enjoyed trying something new. And at the time it was very new. I've since sort of played that role again a few times, and it's always a different experience every time, but the initial time doing it was definitely something very special. And then when he found out he was a father, and when the family came through, I felt like I got to show more sides of myself, and being able to do that in the context of a performing job is very cathartic, and I really, really liked it. And that's how we finished out the show, at least for me, as a good guy.
Yeah, it was nice to see the change. When you have somebody that, how do you say it, that you love to hate, but you can't, that was kind of, like Robert was. So it was nice to see it end that way.
I appreciate that.
It was.
You're welcome. Now, you also were on Deception, which was another of my favorite shows, and I cannot stand when they keep canceling things that I, invest my time in. So Bree Williamson was also on it, although the poor girl was dead from the beginning. Was it nice to see a familiar face on set when you were
Listen, the first day we worked on the set, we didn't work obviously together. The first day that she was there and I was there at the same time was like a good old family reunion. And the thing about that show was even if you got killed off, you could still come back in a flashback. So everybody's job was always in flux and always safe at the same time. But we had a great time, and I think I talked to a few people about it. NBC had a rough year, and so like I was saying earlier, you don't plan for those things, but you prepare for them. If it happens, it happens, and in that case, you move on to the next job. The actor's life is such that you're auditioning. Even if you have a job, you're still auditioning for something else at any given moment. So, again, I had a blast. I absolutely did it. Got to ride a motorcycle and wear a leather jacket, and nothing wrong with that.
Nope. David, I think you had a question for David.
I did. You, Melissa Archer, and Tom Pelfrey were fortunate enough to work together on Excuse Me for Living with a great comic genius, Christopher Lloyd.
Yes.
What were your experiences working with him?
I could tell you this. He and I didn't have any scenes specifically opposite each other where we had to interact, but we were in the final scene of the movie where there's a big wedding that takes place, and he essentially officiates it. And my character was present there also, and that was my first day on set. So the last thing shown in the movie was my first day shooting for it. And I come on, and everybody's running their lines, and then the camera rolls, and he starts doing this thing, and it was so outlandish and so over the top and so funny. In the final cut of the movie, you do not see me at all background shots because I couldn't stop laughing. He's a genius, and again, something that may seem a little strange, as you're experiencing it in real life, when it gets picked up by the camera, it is exactly what it should be, and especially coming from somebody like that. I mean, I've been Huluing Taxi, and I just watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest again recently. This is him in his younger years, and he's been doing this forever. He's a genius. He's great.
He is. I love him in all of his movies as well. Now, in Running on Empty, you play Matthew, and can you tell us more about that character?
Well, that's one of the first things I described to someone recently was, I essentially described the character. He's sort of arrogant, knows he's good, fast runner, Harvard law student, drives a really expensive car, everything that kind of comes with that. And someone said to me, well, you played that guy before. I was like, essentially, but not like this. The way it's written is much different, and which is a credit to Joe. And Joe and I had talked about this. We had to sit down before we started shooting just to discuss, how we're going to approach each scene. And what's interesting, the most interesting thing about this part is that he was sort of in Junior's shadow when they were in high school, and Junior was top dog. And Junior's life is taking a turn, And in Matthew's mind, what's happening to Junior now, Junior deserves. And so Matthew, my character, is thinking, you know what, I've worked hard, I'm going to be great school, I'm faster, I'm stronger, I'm all these things now that I wasn't in high school. So in his mind, he's not the villain. And so the interesting thing is that everything that comes out of Matthew's mouth, for some degree or the other, is for good reason, you know. And that makes, I think that makes for interesting drama. It's not that cut and dry. There's definitely some gray areas there that are, like we were talking about earlier, how the movie operates on a sort of 4 quadrants instead of just one genre. Because of reasons like this, there's going to be a lot of that. I think it makes for a very interesting movie.
I can't wait to see this. I mean, this sounds phenomenal. And when is the trailer coming out?
We're working on a cut right now, and we'll be, I'd say, springtime.
Springtime?
Is safe to say. Yeah, springtime.
You mean I have to wait that long?
Maybe we'll do some teasers for Christmas teasers, maybe.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, that would be good. You could do at least, you know, a 1-minute one, I think, every now and again, and then build up, you know, to the big one.
We actually have on our Facebook like little 20 to 30 second like clips. So
do you?
If you can't wait that long, you can log on to our Facebook, www.facebook.com/runningonempty-the-movie, and you can look at like little, I've done like fun little clips. So you'll kind of get a basic idea or like fun little interviews of the movie as well.
And while you're there, don't forget to like the page.
Right, exactly.
Oh, yes.
Exactly.
We're all about
I
the
learned, I learned from Sainty.
Yeah, and we will be releasing some, along with the photos that we have up there, we had great behind-the-scenes videos that will be put together, a little behind-the-scenes featurette with interviews from all the cast, and yeah.
Yeah, I saw all the photos. I don't know how I missed the little 20-minute or 20-second clip. I mean, maybe I thought it was a photo and didn't click on it. But I'll go back and look at that again. Now, are you going to have bloopers? You got to have a bloopers reel.
That's the Josh Flitter show is what that is.
So good.
I need to see that. I always love those. Are always the best.
We haven't discussed this yet, but just real quick, Josh is another very central part of the film, and he's notorious for interesting ways to deal with his other actors. And he's one I could not keep a straight face with. And there's going to be if there is a blooper reel, he's going to be the absolute star of that one because he's a comic genius himself. He's great.
Yeah, see, now you can't tell us that and not do it, so there you go. Now, is this film going to be submitted to film festivals?
Yeah, so we're going to be, once we have the cut together, some companies, I won't say which ones, are going to be looking at it for distribution, and
Wonderful.
Then we'll also send it out to the film festival circuit.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. You sound like you did a phenomenal job with it, and I'm sure everybody's happy with it, and we want to see it as soon as possible. Yes. I know 2014 is not that far away, considering we're in November already.
Which true.
I don't even know how we got here, but we did.
Amen.
It's already going to be Thanksgiving, my Lord, and then Christmas, and then there we go. We're in 2014.
And there's a marriage in there too, real quick.
Pardon?
I said there's a quick little wedding in there too.
Yes. Do you want to say what date it is?
It's actually the day after Thanksgiving. We have Mr. Nelsen and I are getting the big marriage going on.
Oh, I already told her all about it before you got on the phone.
I wasn't sure if you were married because you're already using Nelsen, and I thought I missed it, but here I didn't, so that's a good thing. So congratulations.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We're so excited. So I'm actually in Texas driving in my car right now because Verizon just hasn't quite made the leap in my neighborhood yet.
Oh, you're
kidding. So they're big
AT&Ters.
So I'm hitting up the Verizon right now in my car driving around.
Oh, my